Jamie got another big board game in the mail, and we're going to open it all up and show you today. We've got Monster Hunter. Did you go all in?
I did go all in.
He went all in, and
Yeah.
so we've got it. We've got a lot of stuff to show you. We're going to go ahead and start pulling these out and unboxing them. You want to tell me a little bit about Monster Hunter?
Yes, Monster Hunter is based on a long-running video game series by Capcom. That pretty much is exactly what the title says it is. You are a group of hunters, and you are hunting down these gigantic creatures and skinning them and taking their bones and teeth and horns and making upgraded armor and weapons so that you can hunt more of them.
There's really a lot of content in here, but this whole box is basically one miniature and some cards.
Miniature is probably not the right word for it, but yes.
Majoriature.
Majoriature.
Majoriature, big monsterature. But we're going to take a look at that. And where should we start?
Let's maybe start with the core sets.
All right. Don't worry. I'll take care of the boxes. Boop! Oh, okay. I guess we'll start with this one then. And what is this called here?
This is one of the core sets. There's two kind of core boxes for this game. This is the Ancient Forest, which comes with 4 of the monsters and 4 of the hunters and 1 of the base boards, and then kind of all the basic stuff you need to be able to play the game.
Really, really interesting. Looks neat on the back. So this is a standalone core set. So they're sort of modular, right?
It is, yeah. You need one of the 2 core sets, and then all of the expansions that you can buy alongside that are kind of intermixed with the core set.
So they kind of snap into them.
Yeah, it's really cool. All the hunters play quite differently. I've not yet played the game, but from the setup of the game, all the hunters kind of play very differently from one another. So you find one whose play style you enjoy, and then you can kind of play through a campaign where you hunt a bunch of the different monsters down. And they're all modular, so you can hunt any of the expansions, kind of plug into this set. Or these core set monsters and hunters can kind of mix in with the other core set. So
very, very neat. You got some artwork here on top.
Yeah.
Oh, it tells you how to organize your storage tray.
Handy.
That is really handy.
Yeah.
I don't think they do that enough with some of these things.
Yeah.
And we got some wings for the monster here. That's obvious, trying to get these things to fit is perhaps a bit of a trick.
Yeah. So one of the iconic monsters from this series that has been in it for a long time is in this box, and those are the wings for that. I think it's called the Rathalos. And that's him right there. Yeah, so he's kind of the big bad out of this box. And if I'm not mistaken, there's actually, they provide you with a couple of different kind of species of the Rathalos. There's one that's kind of the base set, and then there's one, I think it's called the Azure. And it's got like it's kind of kitted out differently than the base set. So you can kind of play it 2 different ways with this one monster. So
it looks like he just kind of snap fits together here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely even still, I believe you could still paint this up okay and be able to take those wings apart and store it. Boy, that would help a lot.
Yeah.
A little bit of effort to push it in there, but not too bad. Let's see. Rathalos. Yeah, I don't want to force it too much. I guess I could repair it. Yeah, a little bit of effort to get that wing in there, but he looks cool. Very neat. Yeah, that's a really, really big monster guy. A lot of good detail in here. Looks like a nice hard plastic. There are lines down below here to indicate the direction that they're pointing. This is probably not the greatest example to try and show you. Try and show you with the above camera.
I think this is the lines on the base like that to use for directionality is kind of a Steamforged game thing. I think they've got a few games that kind of use that as part of their mechanics.
The beautiful part about that, though, is it lets you do these dynamic poses where the monster's kind of swinging their head around. That would be hard to determine what's the front and what's the back.
Well, and all the monsters and all the sets really look like they have like this dynamic kind of motion to them. Like they're capturing motion in a still object, and that's really neat.
That is cool. We'll perch him up here for a minute.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got here.
So I think this one is the Anjanath, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to try to remember these from my video game knowledge. So.
He sort of looks like a T-Rex.
Kind of, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, in the video game series, this guy kind of breathes fire. Like he'll spit fire out at you, yeah.
How neat. And this guy sort of looks like an iguana.
Yeah, let's see. I'm not remembering what the name of this one is. I messed up by trying to recall the first couple, you know?
I expect you to name every single one.
Well, and so I played Monster Hunter World on the video game when it came out, and it was great, but that came out, a couple years ago, so it's been a hot minute since I've played that one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
You can really see the lines better. You can really see the lines better on that one. You see how it's kind of shiny? That's great. That's a really great way to include some directionality into these things.
I love that they don't feel cheap. Like they feel like well made. I feel like if I was to, accidentally drop this or knock it over or something like that, it's not just gonna like snap or whatever. Like it feels sturdy.
And where it's been assembled and stuff, it seems like they did a good job. I'm not seeing big globs of glue or anything like that. Looks good. Looks good. Are there more monsters in here?
Yeah, one more, I believe.
Ooh.
Oh, this guy, I think is Tobi Kadachi, is what it's called in the video game series. So he's kind of like, almost like a large flying squirrel type character. Like he leaps around and kind of glides through the air with
his big tail.
Yeah, with his tail. And I think he's more of like a lightning kind of base monster. So
wow.
It's cool that his claws kind of hang off the base a little bit there, too.
Yeah.
Almost like he's kind of coming off of there, yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's kind of perched. And you can tell he looks like a flying squirrel.
Yeah.
Except for the dragon face.
Yeah.
Very neat. All right, so let's dig a little bit deeper.
Okay. Do you want to like leave all these guys out as we go at the end? We can have a a whole collection kind of shot.
We'll never get them back in there.
Yeah, sure we will.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I mean,
sure,
it's up to you. It'd be neat to see them all out. That's not a thing that I've seen anywhere yet.
Yeah.
Like a collection of all of
them. That
them.
will be cool if you're willing to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get them back in there. Might take a minute, but we'll get it back in there.
Looks like we've got some instruction books. Ooh, it's kind of weighty. So you've been through these instructions yet?
So I read the instruction book that they provided through the Kickstarter, which they kind of so this is like this particular book that you're showing is like the quest and stuff like that. So I haven't looked through any of that because that's kind of like a choose your own adventure style. As you go through the campaign, it says go read number 22. Now go read number 14. Now make a decision, and if you do pick this way, you go that way, and if you pick this one, you go this other way, kind of thing. So, but I have been through the rule book. So,
what's this first time playing thing?
So they try to set you up to do like a quick start, so you can just kind of jump right in and learn the game real quick, kind of quick and dirty, kind of thing. So,
wow. It looks like it's really. It looks like they've put a lot of thought into this game.
Yeah.
And the rulebook looks pretty good.
I was really happy with the layout of the rulebook because anytime that like I was reading through and something popped up and I was like, well, I wonder how that's going to work. It almost like immediately explains it, like it's very logically laid out. So
we got got a player aid on the back. I really appreciate that when they do that because I'm going to have the rulebook out pretty much. They have an index in the back. We like the index. An appendix. I don't have an appendix anymore.
Did you have yours removed?
Yeah. This one has it.
It
this
does.
has an appendix. All right.
So one of the mechanics in the game that's really important is, and in the video games as well, is the use of the stamina bar. And so as you play through the game, that's kind of how like different moves will require different amounts of stamina, and you play cards down and they fill up your stamina bar. And if your stamina bar is full, you can't do anything else.
You're exhausted.
Yeah, exactly. So that like managing your stamina is a big component of the game. Apparently.
Well, I haven't seen that incorporated into a video game. Is that what this is?
Yeah. So this is your tableau, and as you play, you lay cards down from left to right, and you become kind of exhausted as that goes on. And then as you rest, your cards will kind of go away from your stamina bar, and you can reuse those spent spaces again. Very neat. We got some tokens in here.
Ooh. There's quite a bit of cardboard to pull out. Is this like the game board itself?
That's the game board, yeah. And on the game board, there's nodes where the monster will move and the characters will move around on the board on these nodes.
All right, so let's look at the tokens first here. So what are these things? Are these like status?
These
look like they would go on the board maybe to indicate different zones and stuff.
So they're bush. And so, like, if your hunter is in the bush, it lowers their threat rating.
Oh, really?
Right? So, like, the monster is less likely to target you because you're, like, hiding.
Oh, okay. So it's like cover.
Yeah, it works like that. These are rocks. I'm not remembering off the top of my head exactly what they do. I think they allow you to, like, you spring off of them, and so they let you move without having to expend cards or something to that effect. So.
And this is like some sort of
player
health
token.
tracker, maybe?
Yeah, this is a player token, like, that marks who is currently active, I think is what it is. And then these are like this is part of a health kind of situation there, so for tracking that. So these are tokens that mark when you deal damage to a specific body part on the monster, and then if you break it, you mark it with one of these. And then at the end of the hunt, you get special parts based on what parts you've broken on the monster. So say you cut its tail off, you might get an extra piece based on that.
Do you have to cut parts of it off to be able to use it?
Yeah, so like if specific upgrades, like if you want this particular piece of armor, maybe it requires you to have like a part of the carapace of the monster, and so you have to deal damage to like the shell or whatever. So as you deal damage, it's not just kill the monster, it's kill the monster, but also let's try to break off these certain parts of the monster that would then help us later.
Right.
So.
I'll pull this back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a two-sided board. Very foresty looking.
Yeah. So the board just kind of serves this purpose of a background. There's not a whole lot mechanically going on here other than the nodes. So while it does kind of have this, it's really just to kind of serve as a background thematic component.
Yeah, it's just a place to
play.
Wow, it's pretty though.
Yeah.
It really, they've done a good job of capturing that looking down from above. It's a very sort of realistic looking little place. Looks like a very pleasant place to visit.
Absolutely. Except for the fact that there's a giant monster living there.
Except for the giant monsters.
Yeah.
Let's put
that guy on there.
Yeah. Oh boy. So would you only ever fight one of these monsters at a time?
You do. I know that there are times in the video games where, like, if you're fighting one, maybe there's a turf war, and another one will come out and they'll start fighting each other. Right. And you can actually use that to your advantage in the video games. But I have yet to see in the board game where that might actually happen. Will it? I don't know. Maybe. I hope so, because that's a really neat component of the video games. It gets really intense when you're fighting one, and that's already intense as it is, and then another one shows up, and you're like, we should probably get out of the way and let them do their thing. So you can even, in the video games, kind of pit them against each other if you're real smart.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It'd be neat if you could do that in this game as well. I'll point out these guys as well. I think we mentioned that, but at the top here, there's all these like elemental and effect tokens. So this is like fire and water, and then there's like sleep and stunned, I think it is, and poison. And so you can, if your weapons have these particular elements on them, and you hit the monster enough times, you can cause it to like be poisoned, or catch on fire and things like that. So there's a bunch of like special effects you can create.
Is it sort of like crafting or something?
Kinda, yeah. Some of them. And so, like, if you fight a monster that uses fire as a component of its combat, the weapons that you build from that monster may also have that component on them.
What's this? Is this for like saving your game, or?
Yeah, it's like a campaign sheet, so you keep up with how much materials you've collected, how long the game has passed, all those things that you would need in order to be able to go through the campaign.
Very cool.
Yep. These are, they call them physiology cards, I think is what it is. This actually tells you what all the monster is going to do, how it behaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this game, very interestingly, is driven by the monster. So you choose which monster you're going to fight, and after you've actually encountered the monster, it will take actions that then dictate what your hunters can do. Like, it moves first, and that sets everything else up based on what it does. So that's pretty cool. I don't know that I've seen that before in a game. So This also includes like what elements they're weak to or strong against, how many hit points they have, what their armor is.
Do you play use the same model, but play the monster at different levels, like a less advanced one? Or?
There's 4 stars. You start with 1 star, and then you can like play more upgraded version of it. And I think that opens you up to more varied rewards as well. So like if you fight it at 1 star, you might not get all the really good stuff from it, but when you fight it at a higher difficulty, you can get some of the cooler items off of it. And all this artwork is really neat of all the different creatures because they take that right from the game series, and this is real iconic artwork that they use. It
looks like the cave drawings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's neat.
So do the hunters in this game use these outlandishly huge weapons?
They do.
Do they offer any explanation? Like, is it lower gravity on this?
No, and in fact, in the video games, when you swing some of those really big weapons, they take a while. You really got to muscle those big hammers over and stuff like that. So, and I think in the board game, that's going to play out in maybe you swing the weapon fewer times, but when you hit, it really hurts, that kind of concept. So, one of my favorite characters to play is actually the Dual Blades Hunter, because he hits real fast often, but doesn't do a whole lot of damage with any of his hits. But it's really useful for when you're trying to apply like a status debuff.
Right.
Because that has more to do with how many times do you hit, not how much damage do you do. So these are all the reference sheets for how to upgrade armor and weapons.
So these are like upgrade trees?
Cards. So in between each battle with monsters, this is how you can upgrade. So say you want to get to this guy, well, you got to start here, and then you got to get to this, and then you can make this kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is for each of the characters.
Correct. Each hunter has its own forge reference card.
So you're kind of locked into a particular, like you pick your hunter, and then that's your path up.
Well, I think you can do multiples and actually trade between them on each hunt.
Oh, really?
So like if you build one set, you can use it for, if you're fighting something that's weak to that element, but then you decide you're going to fight something different, you could have a different set that you use for that kind of thing. So.
How interesting. It sounds like they've really incorporated the video game.
Yeah. It's obviously it's fan service, but as a fan of the franchise, I super nerded out when this came out. I was very excited about it.
And these are the hunters with their big weapons. Ooh, that one's spiky.
Yeah. So that's the Dual Blades Hunter. That's my guy that I tend to go with. So he's got kind of smaller, little stabbies.
Yeah. The plastic looks good. It's interesting. A lot of detail.
Yeah.
In this plastic.
I think you can do a lot with shading on those, right? Like.
Yeah, it seems to have. There's like a certain texture to everything that looks really interesting.
Yeah, so it's it's chitinous, or it's like like reptile skin or
right. It's
fur.
their shell, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's the sword and shield hunter. He's a little more defensive than most of the hunters is. You see his little buckler there, so he'll kind of use that to protect himself. Very mobile because his weapon's not very big,
Yeah.
So that's kind of the perks of playing that character. This guy is, I think that's the Great Sword Hunter. So obviously a much bigger weapon, packs a lot bigger punch, but a little less mobile than the other characters are probably.
How odd. And then this one's ranged.
Yeah, that's the bow. Obviously stay back and just kind of pepper the monster with volleys of arrows.
Very neat.
Another one of my favorites from the video games was the bow.
And we got a bunch of cards in here. I don't know. I'm not going to go through all the cards. So is this a real card heavy game?
I think it is, yeah. Each hunter kind of gets their own set of cards that they use for attacks. And then they also have, their forge setup. So like, there's cards for every weapon and armor piece you might get. Another element of the game that we haven't really talked about so far is you have this little helper that's essentially a cat, a little bipedal cat called a calico.
A cat?
Yeah, and they follow you around, and you can give them different abilities that they can use throughout the hunt. So you might give your cat the ability to like throw a bomb at the monster. So at some point during the fight, when you're like the crap is hitting the wall, right? The crap is hitting the fan. You can be like, hey, Calico, throw your bomb so that it draws the attention of the monster or whatever away. So, and so I think some of those cards are probably for that too. We'll get to the cat here in one of these other boxes.
Are they
Calico.
represented by a miniature too?
They are, yeah. There's also.
Are they always the same cat? Like it's just something.
No, there's different cats, and in the games you actually can find different cats that have like different skill sets. So one might be a healer, one might actually fight for you, one might like cure status ailments. They do all kinds of different things. So, and they're in this game as well. So.
Wow. How neat. That looks like a cat hand.
Yeah, that's kind of like the icon. That's like the icon for the Calicos, the little cat paw. So.
How neat. And and a couple of dice.
Yeah.
And some snaps. These are to put together those dials.
Yeah. There's not a lot that you use dice for in the game, but you do roll from time to time. So.
It's actually a pretty tight little. Yeah. It's a tight little game as far as like components and stuff. Mm-hmm. They've made room for all the components. It looks like. If you sleeve these cards, you're going to run out of room.
Right,
but are they shuffled a lot, or are they just reference kind of?
These I believe are shuffled, but these are more referencey. Like you're not going to want to ever shuffle those guys.
Yeah. So the reference ones, I guess you could sleeve them if you really wanted to,
sure.
But it's not as necessary.
You're not touching them as often. They're not being shuffled around. Yeah.
How cool.
And then these cards I think are more like they keep up with the time, and so as time passes, you discard cards from that, and sometimes you'll actually take the card and do what it says on the card, depending on what happens in the story events.
Events.
Yeah.
Very neat. All right, well, let's take a look at the next box.
Okay.
How is this in here?
We'll just kind of set it like this, and we'll come back to it.
It's not too scratchy.
Yeah. Okay. And then if you want to grab the... Oh, well, it's over here too, isn't it? And so this is going to be a lot of the same kind of layout, but different monsters and different hunters. And
this is the wild... What is it called?
Yeah, this is the Wildspire Waste. So the previous set was more of a forest. This is a little more deserty.
All right. So we've got more big wings. Oh, wow. Some huge monsters in here.
Yeah, so in the last set it was the Rathalos. Here we have the Diablos, is kind of the iconic monster from this zone.
Diablos.
And that's him that you have there with the giant horns on his head.
Alright, we'll put his wings on. These went on a little easier. Nice. Oh, wow. That's a really substantial looking creature right here. Looks like my thumbnail right there. Wow, I love that.
So in the video game, this guy would go underground and you wouldn't know where he was. And then all of a sudden he'd just pop right up underneath you and like knock you flying. So he was really obnoxious.
Wow, he's huge. What a big monster. We'll set him there with his friends. And this guy...
Barath, I think is what that one is. Barath, maybe.
He kind of looks blind. He looks like he's listening.
Yeah, I think he's more of like he feels through like tectonics or something, like, like...
vibrations.
Vibrations or something like that, yeah.
How neat. Almost fell over just then. All right.
It'd be interesting to see if they put those mechanics in the board game.
Oh, yeah.
If he doesn't
how would they
know how to
represent
move
that?
I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that.
This guy kind of looks like a salamander. Like a big monster salamander. It's fun.
He's like a fishy kind of guy.
Even the little ones look pretty intimidating.
This guy is a jerk. He spits poison, and that's kind of his whole shtick. And he's just real obnoxious.
Huh. Wow. Clever, clever. Clever girl. Moving down through the box here.
So a lot of the same, cardboard here.
This is going to be, the same chits basically, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
because this is another standalone core box.
Different board.
What is it? So if you wanted to just get a little Monster Hunter,
Yes.
what's one core box cost?
I don't know how much they're going to be retail, actually.
Are they even going to sell at retail?
I think so, but I think it's probably still going to be a hot minute before you're able to get them in retail. Generally, when I kickstart a game, like I did with this one, I did with Frosthaven, I've got a couple other ones right now kind of in the backlog. I decide if I want to pay for it, and then I do, and then I just try to forget about it.
Yeah.
Both from a financial standpoint and a time standpoint, because most often with Kickstarters, I don't want to think about I spent all that money and I haven't gotten it yet, you know.
Oh yeah.
And also quite often they don't come when, you know, they initially think they are, and especially with, you know, COVID shutting the world down there for a while, there was a lot of that going on. So
do you remember when it ended?
I don't recall when it ended, no.
It ended right about then.
There you go.
So, do you recall if they were late or anything? Did you really follow it much until the end?
I didn't. Again, I try to, you know, okay, I'm doing it, and I'm just not gonna pay attention to timelines or money. Like, I'm just not even gonna look at it. Once I've decided I'm in, and you just do you, man. And because otherwise I'm gonna get stressed out about it, or I'm gonna get angry about it if it's not on time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's just not healthy for me. So I just try to, okay, and then forget about it. And when it shows up, it's a happy surprise.
That is.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's probably the best way to do it.
yeah. I want to say they initially thought this was going to be ready in November, and I got it in March. So, you know, late, but not obnoxiously so.
Yeah.
You know, I know especially they had some issues with China kind of getting a COVID surge again. And that shut stuff down there for a hot minute, I think. Again. And so that was part of that delay. So, but they did do a really good job of communicating. Like, hey, this is what's happened. This is how much time it's going to set back. So Steamforged Games, the publisher, did do a really good job of at least keeping you informed of what was going on. You never felt like you were just completely in the dark on it.
Did they ask for money to help send it back or anything?
They did not. No.
So they didn't ask for more money for shipping or anything. That's good.
No, and on the Kickstarter, you know, all of this stuff that I got was all at a discount compared to how it will be once it does actually hit retail.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I paid a lot less for it than you would.
The only time it doesn't work is like if the game ends up sucking bad.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Then it's like you can't sell it.
It's a risk you take for sure. So.
All right, so it looks like we got another rule book, probably similar to the other core rule book, and more of the adventure, choose your own adventure or ongoing campaign style book. This is that power bar again, and I like a little tableau for the cards and stuff. Got another score sheet, and we got different set of monster cards, and then the heroes and all of their stuff. Their own set of cards that we didn't look at before.
Pull the hunters out.
But we do want to see the hunters. You can tell I'm like very miniatures oriented. And I'm sorry I'm not pulling out these cards, but there are a lot of cards and a lot of box sets. So to make this kind of an expedited unboxing.
Well, we don't want to give it all away.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain amount of discover, you know.
Hey, do me a favor and touch my hand.
Touch your hand?
No, actually touch it on there.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
there you go. Okay.
So who's this guy?
Let's see. I can barely see what you're holding there. I think that is it's called the Long Blade Hunter, if I'm not mistaken. He kind of uses almost like a katana kind of weapon, if I'm not mistaken on that. I think it's a big...
It's like the size of our person.
Yeah. And then this is I believe it's a charge blade is what this is called.
Huh.
So this is a lot like the sword and shield, only as you use it, it kind of like gains these file charges that allow you to do these special moves. This is, I believe, the light bow gun, which is kind of a cross between heavy artillery and light artillery kind of setup. So,
all right,
more of a ranged character. And this is the insect glaive. Now this guy is real unique in that, and I don't know if you can see it on there, but I think he has this little insect kind of drone kind of creature that he's holding. I'm not sure.
Oh, there's something kind of sitting on his
So he's
arm.
like a little drone, right? And so while he's fighting, he'll send that drone out, and that drone will actually like kind of harass the monster and extract these like pheromones from it that like give it different abilities, essentially. So he's kind of a unique kind of character.
How cool.
In that regard. In the video games, he was also very mobile. He could actually like launch himself into the air with his glaive, his weapon there. So you could actually like jump with him, and you could use it to mount the monsters in the video games. So another element that I'm looking to see if they somehow included here.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if like some of your favorite little things to do in the video game translate into this.
And I'm sorry I keep going back to that, but I know that, and all I've done so far is unbox the board game, so it's.
I think 90% of the people that do this game, they probably played that and enjoyed it, or just saw the big monsters. It was like, I should have played it.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Yeah, they're intimidating when you first encounter them in the actual video games. You have this moment of, holy crap, how am I ever supposed to defeat this thing? And that's cool. It's part of the enjoyment of the games.
All right, so what do we have here?
This is the Teostra, which is kind of one of the last monsters you fight in the video game series. He's particularly nasty. This is one of the expansions, so I think all that's in this box really is this one creature. And he's got kind of his own special rule set that he plays by.
Yeah, it's got some tokens of some sort. And a little rules pamphlet. Some information about fighting him, I guess. Mm-hmm.
This also has the rules for the arena in here. You can actually go in and kind of just do a one-off battle if you want to in this, if you don't want to play the campaign mode.
And you got his set of cards, which seemed all the same, except I guess the stats probably change around.
They do. Yeah, there's different physiologies depending upon what difficulty you choose to fight them on.
And all the little goodies you can pluck off of his dead body.
Correct.
And is this like their movement or something?
It is. So they have a deck of cards, and you do shuffle that, and then you flip over the top card, and that tells you what the monster is going to do on that turn. It also tells you how many opportunities you have to kind of respond to its actions. So I like this guy. To me, he looks a lot like a manticore. And I love manticores in tabletop role-playing games and things like that. I think they're a really cool creature. And this guy kind of, to me, resembles one of those a little bit.
Some sort of chimeric kind of looking monster. Like a lion's head, a sort of a dragon body, and some horns. How cool. Wow, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Really, really, really super detail, especially the face. I want to see if I can. A lot of detail in the face, and in general in this, a lot of textured stuff. So your contrast paints and your speed paints, you paint these up really quick, and have them look good too. So that's him.
Teostra. Yeah, we'll put these back in there. Okay.
I noticed the inserts all have little spots for where things go. I really appreciate when they do that. Here we have the Kulu-Ya-Ku. Kulu-Ya-Ku.
Kulu-Ya-Ku.
Kulu-Ya-Ku, of course.
Yeah.
I was getting there.
He's kind of a funny bird monster. He's not very big comparative to the other monsters.
It kind of looks like a dodo bird.
He does, yeah. And he carries like a rock or an egg around with him. And,
like we all do.
Yeah, and he gets pissed off if you knock that out of his hands. He doesn't like that very much. So.
Yeah, he does. He's got a little rock in his hand.
Yeah. Kind of, it looks very like almost dinosaur-esque to me. Like a velociraptor or something like that. Very bird dinosaur kind of.
He does have that dinosaur look. Some sort of like birdie. Like exactly what you just said. Yeah. Birdie dinosaur. Holding a rock?
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's like they think they're like their egg or like their baby or something, so they just carry the things around. So.
Speaking of babies.
So these are alternative poses and for each of the hunters.
Are they chibis?
Okay, so this guy is one of the calico, actually. That's one of the cats.
Oh,
That
okay.
little guy is, yeah. So there's a couple calico here. I think there's 4.
Or they're like
Calico.
cat. They're like cat people.
Yeah, they're like little cat guys. Yeah, and they help you. Okay.
This would be better.
Yeah, so this one here is one, and then here, and then there's another one here. Yeah, right there.
Huh.
So there's 4 calico. And those are your little cat companions. Okay. And then the rest of these are alternate poses that, as part of the Kickstarter unlocks, we received as a bonus.
So these
like,
are the hunters from the other boxes.
Correct.
But just in a different
different pose. Yeah, in a different pose. And then there's also that guy right there, the little pig-looking guy, is just a fun little dude that you have in your house in the video games. And they had to include him.
He looks like he's wearing a costume.
Yeah.
It's a pig in a monster costume.
You dress him up. And he lives in your house, and you come back and you pet him in between battles, and he, shows you his affection. And you feed him and whatnot.
It's a pig in a monster
Yeah.
suit. How cute. Does he do any gameplay effect for him, or he's
I
just
don't
there?
know if he does anything in the board game, but he really is just for like the cosmetic purposes in the actual video game.
We're leaving all the monsters out as we go, so we can put them all for one big shot at the end. All right, what else we got?
Let's see. We've got you can set that there. We'll do the Hunter's Arsenal. So this comes with all the other hunters that are in the video games that we have not seen yet. So the ones that are not included in the base set.
All right.
So this gives you a much wider variety of options for your hunter.
Some rule books. So this adds on to your existing hunter? Is this more alternate poses?
No, these are more actual, like, mechanically different characters.
Okay, so they've got their own set of these hunter cards and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And all these are all the progression for their weapons and
Correct.
things like that?
Yeah.
More of the same. Kind of like we saw in the other thing. Wow, just a lot of that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That's
Boy.
a big part of the game, obviously. So
Yeah.
unlocking all the different, your builds or whatever, your armor and your weapon, whatnot.
I'm not sure what the best way to show these is. Let me just try it with my hand again.
Okay.
Let's see if I can maybe get two at once.
So the one guy there is a different variant of the bow gun. This character, and then this character I think is like they call it like a gun lance. So it's kind of like a long spear or a lance, but it has a gun in it, and so you kind of jab it into the monster, and then you can pull the trigger and like fire this blast.
Oh,
into
wow.
The monster. So yeah.
Explosive melee weapon.
Yeah, it is.
There's a really interesting variety of characters in here.
Yeah. They all have very unique gameplay elements too, kind of depending upon what you want to be able to do.
Oh, that's really bizarre. I don't know how he fit in here. Oh, he fits exactly in there, just one way.
Yeah.
Exactly one way, and then that's it with that guy.
Oh, so yeah, okay. So this is the longsword user. I think earlier I said that we had the longsword user, but this is the longsword. That other guy would have been the switch axe. Then is what that would have been, and then this is like the hammer user. He kind of deals with like big, stunning attacks. So.
And every one of these, like, there's such an amount of detail in the armor and stuff. Like, there's such an amazing amount of detail on the miniatures themselves. There's a lot of texture in the armor and stuff that I think if you applied even if you just did the regular paint scheme with a wash and stuff, it'd be really easy to bring that out. I bet these would be a lot of fun to paint. So you should learn to paint, Jamie. It's time to paint your minis.
I remember those days when I was really little and I attempted to do that and how bad they looked, and so I just have this memory etched in my head of doing a terrible job, and it kind of keeps me from branching out into that again.
What's funny is they always seem terrible at first, but then once you get it finished, They look all right.
So this guy is using what's called the hunting horn. So it kind of looks like a big maul or axe or something to that effect, but it's actually essentially a bagpipe.
Huh.
Like a giant bagpipe that the monster hunter will use to like bash the monster over the head. But they also serve a role as like a supporting character. So they'll like play songs like a bard would to like buff the rest of the party. So
singing the inspirational tunes with his big beady thing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay. And that is the hunter's arsenal.
Yeah.
I like how there's like a little spot in here to put your tokens once you pull them out.
Yeah.
A little place for everything. That's the way I like.
Well thought out.
Things to be nice and orderly.
Yeah. Okay, you want to grab like Nergigante over there? One of those 2 boxes.
I think we did this one, didn't we?
We didn't do the Nergigante yet.
No, Nergigante.
Yeah. This guy is just a rat bastard.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's just an absolute jerk.
His horns look similar to that guy.
Yeah, the Diablos, yeah.
So, like all the monsters, he's got his little rule book. He's got his set of cards. There's the artwork for that. Got some more tokens. And his wings are put in just so. I'll have to remember how that was.
So you see, even on his wings, he's got these little spike things. He'll kind of like fire them at you over the course, kind of like quills.
Oh, yeah?
Over the course of the battle. Yeah.
Oh, I see them.
They're really nasty.
Little tiny spikes all over those wings. Okay. Ow.
Yeah, right, yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Just reaching in there and I got poked. Jeez. Ow. He's about to draw blood. These actually look like they've been blunted a little bit.
They do.
You might have to go in there with a hobby knife and kind of just sharpen them up.
Yeah.
Or call it battle damage. Yeah, he may have gotten dropped at some point. All right. Let's put this... See, putting the wings on is even a little tricky because he's so spiky. Spiky bits. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there we go. All right, let me get you in focus here. Okay. That's a big monster. What does he do?
Yeah, so well, first of all, on top of just being nasty, he's got those little spikes, and he'll kind of fling those at you over the course of the combat. Like they did, like kind of like I don't know, what would do that? Like a porcupine or something might throw quills at you or something, I don't know. He's real nasty.
Wow.
He was a roadblock for me in the video games. I fought him quite a few times before I ended up bringing him down for the first time.
So you have an ancient grudge.
I do. Nergigante and I go way back, so...
And of course, just like the other monsters, he's got his set of cards, so you can pull stuff off of them and evolve, and his action cards and whatnot. Yep. Very tight system. Very smart way to make expansions and stuff.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Do we have another one?
One more to go.
One more.
One more.
All right. Let's see it.
This is the Kushala Daora. And he's kind of the big guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's the big guy here. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They had to strap him down in there.
He's all strapped. He's got a tail.
Yeah.
In here. Let's see. I think we're gonna have to unsnap him from the back here.
Yeah.
So, ow. These monsters are dangerous. I think I've almost drawn blood on this a couple of times. I'm going to set him down for a second here. Just like the other creatures, he's got his own set of cards. I'm doing this in case someone just fast forwarded to this part. Yeah, so you got your form-fitted insert there just for this guy. He's just got one little part to add. I'm going to approach him carefully.
Must be respectful.
Yes.
Offer him your hand first.
Bow first, and then I can ride him.
If he accepts you, yes.
If he accepts my offer. All right, and they've strategically kind of put this tail in so it kind of goes along with the scaling. I like that. Very neat. Wow.
So his whole thing in the games is he kind of creates like these wind storms that kind of just blow you all over the place.
Sort of a blowhard.
Yeah, he is. So just getting to him is kind of obnoxious.
Wow. Super huge and impressive creature. Trying to clear the background here. Very, very large. I mean, just wow. I mean, look at the size of that. It's bigger than my face. The construction of it looks really good. Lots of great texture in the wings and stuff. Definitely looks intimidating. It's going to make for some really cool pictures at this kind of up angle, looking up at the guy as he's coming after you and stuff. It's interesting though, the base, like, is that indicating the front?
It is, yeah.
Oh, so it's like a fire arc almost.
It is, yeah. It's like
okay. I wasn't sure if the line pointed to the direct front of him or
no.
If
So it's like a 90-degree wedge. Yeah. And then
okay.
his side is 90, and then the back is 90. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So, and then he came with the stuff the other ones came with. He's got his set of tokens. And his special monster card with the cave art. And a little rule book for him and all the terrible things he does to people. Very cool. Ah, there's one of the cats. I love it. I love it. Let's lay all these guys out and we'll kind of talk about
okay.
where you're going to go next.
Okay.
Well, Jamie, you've got a lot of monsters to defeat.
I do. Yeah, my work is cut out for me. So hopefully I'll have better luck with it than I have with other monsters in my past. So
how do you think you'll approach this game? Are you going to just try to one box that or what?
Yeah, well, I think I would like to do a couple arena fights, which are just kind of the one-offs, just to kind of learn how the game works. And then it'd be neat to get a campaign together. So,
well, after you figure out how the arena fights work, come back and we'll shoot a playthrough or something.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Maybe I'll even paint some of this for you.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe I'll just have you come over and I'll teach you how to paint.
Well, yeah, those things, or we could just get my 3-year-old to, pull out the Crayola and see what kind of damage he can do with it. So.
Yeah, sure, man. I like the avant-garde style.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
that only like a 3-year-old can create. Okay, folks, thank you so much for sticking around. If you made it this far through the video, you might as well subscribe. There's a link right here. If you'd like to see other unboxings, me pulling new stuff out of boxes, new games, just off the boats from China, click right here. And if you'd like to see something that YouTube thinks you'll like, there's a link right there. Until next time, enjoy your games, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.